In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi, Batra, and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Joining me is also Bhatnagar, and we're going to be wrapping up the markets for you from the whole day's trade, what the key highlights that we've seen so far. We'll also be joining by experts who will tell you what the market strategies for you should look like going forward from here. So it's been a day when the benchmark indices have largely been subdued in trade. Even now, the Nifty is down by about 0.5%, 21,549 being seen currently on the Nifty index. However, sectorally speaking or below the surface, there has been some buying from the lowest levels. So the Nifty Bank has also recouped some of the losses from the morning lows, and it's now flattish with a negative bias of just about 0.08% at 47,721. The other sectors that have actually gained some pace from the lowest levels is, of course, the broader markets. The mid and the small cap 100 indices are back into the green. Nifty Next 50 is into the green. PSU Banks is the top moving sectoral index, 1.5% higher in trade. The realty space, oil and gas, healthcare, FMCG, these are the sectors that are showing some momentum. Of course, it's the Adani Group stocks that have been the top movers, whether it's in the Nifty or in the Nifty 500 space following the Supreme Court's verdict in the Adani-Hindenburg case. Shall?
Very warm good afternoon to you, Sakshi, and to the thousands of viewers who are now joining us on the last 1 hour leg of Market Today. Yes, the main story for today is the fabulous price action that we've seen on Adani stocks, as also the near, how should I say, negation of the Hindenburg report, which had cast a pall of gloom across the board, not only on Adani stocks but some parts of corporate India as well. So the Supreme Court has categorically backed the Indian regulatory environment, which includes SEBI, which includes the other corporate bodies such as other corporate bodies as well. And therefore, you've seen a very, very sharp momentum coming in, especially on the index stocks, which are Adani Enterprises, 3.5% higher, 3,037. Adani Ports, 2.5% higher, 1,011.06. Very, very sharp action coming in on all 10 stocks of the Adani Group, and all 10 of them are in the green. Adani Total is at circuit 10% higher, Adani Energy Solutions 11.2% higher, and very, very sharp 5, 7, 10 times the 5-day moving average as far as volumes are concerned. So a clean chit almost that the group has got from the Supreme Court, and that clears the way for a lot of business plans to come in, that clears the way for fresh investors to move in. And the biggest beneficiary, of course, is the retail investor. As you know, Sakshi, over a period of time, the last 12 odd months, we had seen a lot of retail investors enter these stocks at rock bottom prices, and they have made substantial money. What else are you watching?
Absolutely, Shail. Apart from this, we are also looking at a slew of finance names that are picking up pace in the F&O space. So For you, Bandhan Bank, Manappuram Finance, Canara Bank, these are the banking names that are moving up in trade, of course, in the F&O action. Of course, apart from this, a whole host of other stocks that are moving up is from the PSU banking space too. This entire space, like you pointed out, of course, is also rejoicing the Supreme Court's verdict, because this will clear the way for them to further loan to the Adani Group as well. So Bank of Maharashtra up 4%, Canara Bank up 3.5%, UCO Bank, Central Bank of India, Punjab and Sindh Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, they're all up in trade. And early in the morning, there were no signs that the PSU banks would be the ones that will be topping the charts, but it was only after the verdict came out that these stocks definitely started to move in full throttle. Let's also welcome our guest on the show. Soni Patnaik is now with us. She's AVP Derivatives Research at JM Financial. Soni, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Today Television. Happy New Year to you. Tell us, what are you watching out for in the markets?
Good afternoon, Sakshi and Shailendra. Wishing all a very happy new year. So I think markets, it's better to go with stock specific and looking at how volatile the indices are. So I'm looking at Godrej Properties. I think it's given a very good breakout of the last 5 days high. Was a high price. It has just crossed that level today and sustaining also above it. So I think Godrej Properties with a stop loss of 2020 can be bought at current price and for targets of 2100 to 2120. So it has also witnessed some good long-weighted positions today, and I think all the data also on the options matrix is also indicating at a positive movement for Godrej Properties. The second pick would be from the, it will be in Bharti Airtel. Bharti Airtel likewise has been sustaining and defending a level of 1020, 1015 on the downside. So keeping a stop loss of 1015, Bharti Airtel can be bought at current price for targets of 1060, 1065.
Okay. Sakshi, there's one sector that I'd like to mark apart from the very, very strong rally that we are seeing in mid-cap pharma. It's the railway space, and we've had the first day of rally coming into stocks like Ircon, into stocks like Railtel. This is after a series of consolidation moves that we've seen, and it's accompanied by a huge upsurge in volume. So Ircon is the top gaining counter in the railway space, 7% higher. It's boosted by about 77 lakhs in terms of daily volume, which is 3x the 5-day average. RITES is 3.5% higher. RVNL 2.7% higher, and of course the likes of Railtel as also IRFC. These are the stocks which are high beta, low ticket, which are again attracting a lot of trader interest simply because of price, volume and momentum. To you, Soni, anything that catches your fancy in the railway space which may not have yet exploded on the charts and looks good?
Right. So I think first if we discuss about Ircon, it has given a very fresh breakout above 180 with good volumes. So I think as long as 180 is defended and held, even like in the coming trading days, it can definitely rally up to 194, 196 range. I think Ircon is still a good buy from current levels. The other stock which has not quite performed in this particular sector will be IRCTC. So IRCTC is sort of consolidating somewhere between 860 to 920 levels. 920 is a resistance. So we believe the moment it's able to cross 920, it will also outperform. It will give that a fresh breakout. So above 920, it can test 950, 960 levels. On the downside, 860 continues to be a very strong support of the lower end of the consolidation range.
Sakshi, what are you watching?
Soni, I wanted to bring your attention to the hotel space. You know, we were discussing a lot about Lemon Tree since yesterday. It was also one of the picks from our guests also. And of course, Motilal Oswal triggered that move yesterday after giving that 150 kind of a target price. Of course, it's seen some profit booking from higher levels. But Indian Hotels is also now picking up pace. As far as the F&O space is concerned, it's now up by 3.6% in trade today. Would you be looking at Indian Hotels?
Definitely, Sakshi, because Indian Hotel was continuously in a range between 430 to 450 the whole of December series, and today would be the day when it has actually broken up above that. Range of 450. So from looking at from current level perspective, I think today's closing is also looking positive above 450. So it can definitely rally up to 460 plus levels like for tomorrow, but positionally, if you talk about this stock, can definitely see higher levels of 480 also in the coming trading days. As long as 430 on a positional basis is holding, it will definitely try to surge and test 480 plus levels positionally.
Okay, so that's as far as Indian Hotels is concerned. The other stock that I wanted your view on is Biocon, 6.5% higher, the top mover in the F&O space. And after a long time, we are seeing Biocon move up, and it's now trading above 290 odd levels in the F&O space. Your own sense of how would you look at Biocon?
Right. So, very aggressive long wilter positions yesterday and today as well, with volumes, and there is a clear breakout of resistances, above 276 to 78. So, anybody who would have bought it from yesterday will, advised to trail these stop losses to 276. From current levels, also, I think on any small dip that you can see towards 280 to 78 again can be a range for accumulating and reinitiating the longs, so keeping a very small stop loss of 276. I think it can definitely head up to 290 to 92 levels.
Okay. Sakshi, one stock that needs mention is Bajaj Auto. It's a high ticket item, 2.8, 2.3% higher in front of me, 6818. We'll also look at one of its options trades, but clearly your view, Soni, on this one. Volume hasn't sort of accompanied this jump in price, but what are the charts on Bajaj Auto telling you?
I think Bajaj Auto, I'm just checking the options chain data, and it looks quite positive up to 7,000 levels that it can test, because a lot of open interest unwinding can be seen at higher levels of 6,800, 6,900 as well. So it is indicating that some of the writers are exiting the position, and they may find the comfort somewhere around 7,000. And that's where Bajaj Auto can also see some profit booking taking place. On the downside, 6,700 to 6,650 is a very strong support range for now. So from current levels also, if it's holding 6,700, it can definitely start a rally up to 7,000, from where we may actually see the profit booking taking place. So anybody, already who would have entered at a lower range can definitely trail the stop losses to 6,700 levels, and try to book the final profits when it's around 69 to 7,000 of a range.
Okay, let's look at Sakshi, the 6900 Bajaj Auto call expiring on Jan 24th. This is already which has moved fairly substantially. What can be done, the moment softwares catch price action, they move very, very quickly. So 6900 Bajaj Auto call expiring on Jan 24th is now at about 188 rupees. It's up 32 since previous close. Let's look at what the all-time high is. Okay, it's fairly there as far as prices are concerned. So a little difficult to now take a call, but should this one go above 7,000? Your view on this particular call option, Soni?
Right. So, if you just look at that call option, of course, 145, 146 being the CMP somewhere around. So, it has already moved up by 40, 45 rupees, since yesterday's close, and how the option has also moved, even when the volatility is quite down, like VIX. So, if the stock has to move up to 7,000, then this stock option definitely can do 180, 195 levels also, from a dip of 130. So, I think anybody wants to enter into the option trade can perhaps wait for a small dip around 140, 130. That can be a good buying range, and keeping a small stop loss of 98. Then the option trade we can see for targets of 180, 190.
Okay. Well, that's as far as
Sakshi, what's on your radar?
Shail, I was wanting to ask on ITC, Sony's view, it's now at 477. We have been discussing this stock all since yesterday. You caught it pretty early at around 469 odd or so in yesterday's trade. It's now at 477, 1.5% up in trade. What would you do with ITC and what do the charts tell you here, Soni?
So ITC, of course, it has moved out of its range. It has broken above 465, 470. However, I can also see that the open interest additions at 480 call option is very, very significant and very high. So there's no signs of unwinding, and that is also the strike where the highest open interest is there is present. So it is indicating that maybe you can see a small dip in ITC from current levels somewhere till 470 or so. So I think 470 to 475 be the range where you can again reaccumulate your longs, somebody who would have missed out this rally, and keep a small stop loss of 460. So I think once it's broken out of this particular dip and the range has been seen, after that you can see it breaking above 480. So the moment 480 is broken, the call writers were present at 480 will exit the position and head on to the next levels of 500. So I think from there you can see ITC heading towards 490, 495 levels. So I think it's important to enter, just wait and just enter on a small dip and then wait for the entire range to come back again to 480 plus.
Sakshi, I think we'll have to focus on Bajaj Auto. This one is most likely to see a very, very sharp uptick. The company's just announced a buyback. The quantum of that buyback will be bigger than what it was earlier. And now let's look at the fact that, the momentum is very sharp. Yes, 6,900 already crossed. Let's look at the call that we had caught hold of. Whoa, we had caught it at 180, it's now 220. So that's how action is trapped as far as prices are concerned. And it's galloping because Bajaj Auto itself is showing very, very smart spurt in volume. I have about 4,86,000 shares that have been traded, 4,90,000 shares have been traded, much higher than the 5-day average. I think, Soni, you might need to revisit Bajaj Auto's chart given the price action that you are seeing now. 69.14 in cash.
I think, Shail, I'll still stick to the view that, it will test 7,000 from where you can see the profit booking, like very small profit booking. Anyway, you can enter on dip again. But, just like 5 minutes ago when we discussed of 6,700 being a strong support for your stop losses, I think one can start trailing these stop losses to at least 68.30, 68.40 range. I think that can be done from current levels, as I can see that it's holding. So from even 68.30, 68.40, you still have another 50, 60 points of move until it tests 7,000 in cash.
Okay. Sakshi, let's just stick to Bajaj Auto for a while. The 5-day trading volume is 251 crores. So far, 339 crores worth of transactions have happened. And what's interesting, this is a hugely cash-rich company. Somewhere like 20,000 crore rupees is cash on the books. And a buyback helps existing shareholders to improve their returns, simply because the shares that are extinguished via the buyback, the existing shareholders, even if the company performs flat, will have a higher share of the profit because EPS goes up because number of shares are down, and therefore the stock rallies. This is how markets are at the moment. And what's really interesting is that the open interest, Sakshi, when we started discussing about Bajaj Auto, was around 6.7% higher, and in the last 5 minutes it's gone up to 15.6%. So this is something to look at. It's a breakout that's happened on volume, price and momentum. Sakshi.
Absolutely, Sharon. Now Bajaj Auto is the top mover on the Nifty index, 3.8% higher, now at 69.15. So kudos to you for pointing that out for all our viewers. I think January 8 is when Bajaj Auto will be looking at considering the buyback coming in. More details are waited on this one, the size of the buyback and which route will the company be taking for this buyback is something we will continue to track and tell all our viewers about as well. Okay, let me take Soni's view on the other pharma names. We discussed Biocon, but what about the other names that are coming up like Cipla, 1.5% higher, 1301 right now. We're also looking at Sun Pharma, Apollo Hospitals, Divis Laboratories, all of them picking up pace. Of course, this started off day before yesterday when the pharma stock started to show some momentum. Yesterday was a pharma day completely. Your own sense on how would you look at these pharma counters, the top stock that comes on your charts?
I think Sakshi, when markets start to get a bit choppy or in a sideways trend, pharma and FMCG, these are the counters that come out to play their part. So I think if you look at Glenmark, be it Sun Pharma, be it Oro Pharma, Cipla, all these stocks are actually moving into the green zones and they are breaking above the resistances. So speaking about Cipla, it has definitely broken out above 1300, which was a resistance, and now you can see that 1280 is becoming the new latest support. So as long as 1280 is held on to, on a closing basis, Cipla will definitely try to test 1330, 1340 odd levels in the coming trading session. So I think it's looking quite good also from technical perspective and also in the derivative parameters.
Okay, fair enough. Let me just ask you one more stock, and that is from the PSU banking space. I will ask you on State Bank of India. It's now 0.5% higher at 642 odd levels. What would you do now with State Bank of India?
I think it's quite clear. I've been mentioning about State Bank. There's a range which is clearly holding on to it. So, the breakout was above 630 last series. That was a 52-week high and it is still holding. I mean, even if when the choppiness is there in Bank Nifty, State Bank has not gone below 630. On the upside, 660 continues to be a resistance. So, this is the range for SBI as of now from 630 to 660. So, the moment it crosses 660, you can see it further rallying up towards 680, 690 levels. So I think SBI is a good accumulation range right now. And on any dip that you can see towards 630, holding 630 as your support, it should bounce back from there and then again go and test 660. If it's able to break 660, you will definitely see it as a fresh breakout and it can head towards 680 plus levels.
Okay, let's look at Bajaj Auto again. It's almost a 5% surge now on the counter. It's at record levels again, 69.91 we've seen as the record. Right now hovering at 69.88 currently. It's a very, very sharp spike as well. And let's look at the 6900 call that Shell pointed out as to how that is really moving. Of course, 180% is what you caught it at. Right now it's moving. Okay, that's 266. Right now 271. It's definitely ticking higher, Shell. It's not stopping anywhere.
Okay, Sakshi, the counters crossed 7,000 rupees.
Yeah.
Remember, this was a medium-term target, but such is the grace and eternal gift that this bull market is continuously showering on us. We caught this call at 180 rupees. And it's now substantially higher, and things are only going to get better simply because the companies just said that its third quarter is going to be a record quarter as far as the performance is concerned. My understanding is that enough is enough. From 180 you have moved to 266, 270. This is the time to do namaste to this, and just to prove a point that you should be with the Business Today, Market Today, and Soni Soni for these great calls that we keep on catching on a fairly regular basis. Sakshi.
Right. Okay. So that's a fantastic move. 7015, 5.2% higher. It's not stopping. It's like firing away. Bajaj Auto clearly. I remember, I think it was just about 2 months back or something, Shell, when you said that we are going to see that 5,000 mark on Bajaj Auto very, very soon. Within just 2 months, we have that 7,000 mark also coming in. And you can clearly see this is the magic of markets, You look at the way it is moving higher. We just were at 69.88. We're now at 7,033. It's just in fractions of seconds that it's moving very, very sharply again. Any other stock do you think, Soni, that would also warrant attention apart from Bajaj Auto in the auto space or the auto ancillary space that attracts you at the levels?
Definitely, I think it will be Exide. If you can see, Exide has also formed a very good breakout. 2 days ago above 310 levels, and it was consolidating in the last 2 days, but now it is also ready to break, give another round of breakout above 330. So I think Exide is also looking quite positive from current levels, and with strong support of 316, it can definitely test 340 plus levels, I think, in the coming trading days.
All right. So that's as far as the auto ancillary pack is concerned. All right, let me just take one more view on M&M since we were talking about the auto space. This was again, I think, something that Shail was talking about, 1662 currently, 0.3% higher in trade. How does the chart of M&M look to you, Soni?
I think M&M is there. It's sort of a bit weak as of now in the moment, but then it is heading towards its very crucial support of 1630 and 1640. That range is quite strong. It's better to wait for this dip to re-enter and accumulate your dips. So I think 640, 630 would be a very wise range. It has got a good support of 1620. So holding that support of 1620, it will definitely try to bounce back again upward towards 1700 odd levels. I think M&M could be a bit of a silent performer as of now in comparison to how the Bajaj Auto, Hero or TVS Motor are performing. So it's better to catch the stock on the dip as mentioned with these near to the support.
Okay. What else is clicking as far as markets are concerned? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we seem to have a 100-point cut on the Nifty 21,559, and some parts of the market are indeed undergoing a very strong bout of profit booking, especially the metal space and stocks like National Aluminium, stocks like NMDC. That's for two reasons. One, of course, they had gone up fairly sharply. But the other reason is that there is strength back coming into the dollar index, as also the 10-year US bond yield. And therefore, you see a global mild sell-off coming into the metal space. Today, in the domestic markets, we have a sell-off on National Aluminium. Tata Steel is also suffering because of a sell report coming out from a large institutional brokerage. And these are price points that you see in front of your screen. What else is moving which we can sort of put in front of you? Okay, the defense space is doing pretty well. Hindustan Aeronautics 2.6% higher, 2865. There is a fresh move that's coming in on TVS Motors now, up 1.5%, 1997. Sakshi, what's on your radar?
GMR Airports is moving up in the F&O space. It's now up by 4.5% odd, somewhere around 84.55 in the F&O action. Soni, would you look at the charts and tell us what's caused this sudden spike, 4% higher, and should one chase the momentum?
I think definitely one can enter into and look at the current momentum because it's trying to give that breakout above 82.7 level. So I think above 82.7 it will try to head towards 86, 87 like in a short-term view. And on the downside there are multiple support that is getting formed. So one would be at 80.4, which is a very good support, and then again below that you can see 79.2. So there are multiple support that is getting formed while the stock is trying to break above 82.7. So I think it's a good risk reward ratio wise. Also, it's quite favorable to enter at current levels and keep a final stop loss of 79.2 and look for targets of 86.
Okay. So that's as far as how GMR Infra is moving. Do you also track the oil and gas space actively, Soni? And would you have an opinion on any of the stocks that are buzzing among the top 10 movers on the Nifty pack, say BPCL, ONGC? These are the ones that are moving up and have been in an uptrend right now. Anything that strikes you on the charts?
Right, so I think there would be two, three stocks that can come into the radar. One would be the ONGC is looking good because ONGC for two reasons. It is holding above 200 level even in this series, and we saw this level being broken in December series. So 200 is a strong support base as of now. As long as this is holding, it'll try to take out its resistance of 210.5 odd level. So I think that's a resistance. Once broken above it, ONGC will head towards 222 odd levels. So I think that's how the stock is quite poised on derivatives parameter as well as the technical parameters. Apart from this, BPCL, HPCL, they are also quite strong. Hindustan Petroleum, if we look at 400 was a level where last series it broke, and this series also it is holding. So I think the put writers have based themselves at 400 level. They will definitely try to defend this level on any dips. I think HPCL is also heading towards 440. On the charts that we can see, anything above 440, it will give you a very fresh rally. It will give you fresh breakout and head towards 460 also. And on the downside, the support is multiple supports. 410, 400 seems to be that very strong band of support that HPCL can be seen.
All right. Well, thanks a lot then, Soni, for being with us and sharing such wonderful stock ideas. What we'll do is we'll take a very, very short break right here. And when we return, we will discuss more stock ideas with our other guest, Ambareesh Baliga, who will be joining us right on the other side.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
Welcome back. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi, with me Shailendra Bhatnagar, and also joining us now is our special guest Ambareesh Baliga, Market Analyst. Good afternoon, Ambareesh. Great to have you with us on Business Today TV. Happy New Year to you. Of course, third day running for the markets, and it's the Adani stocks that have started to celebrate with the latest verdict coming in from the Supreme Court. What is your own sense of the markets and good news flowing in for some of the conglomerates?
Viewers a very happy and prosperous new year. Yes, I mean, the last 2 days have been a bit difficult for the markets. In fact, we have seen some amount of correction, but there has been good news for Adani group of stocks, and we have seen a good recovery. I think people were expecting a closure today. So since it didn't happen, we saw some sort of a correction from the higher levels for the Adani stocks, but I think it's only been pushed by about 2 months. So I think, in case there's a further correction in these group stocks, I think it's still an opportunity to buy. Especially for traders. For investors, I would still say it is expensive, but as long as the traders are looking at it, I think the momentum could continue for a while longer.
It's with a very warm welcome to you, Ambareesh. What a pleasure to have you. A market veteran over the last 30 years. Guy has seen it all, and it's a pleasure to host you. Happy New Year, and it's good cheer all around as far as Dalal Street is concerned. Another good point coming in from Bajaj Auto today at a time when people are very busy selling shares via OFS, via block deals. Here is a company that says, let me increase shareholder value and institute a buyback. Your views on Bajaj Auto, and then we'll take it forward.
See, I mean, since they're talking of a buyback, and especially when they're sitting on a huge pile of cash, it really makes sense. I mean, unless you're using that cash for, I mean, further capex for growth. I mean, I think, I mean, they've already used decent amount of cash for that. But beyond that, if there's cash lying, then it starts giving you negative returns. So I think it makes a lot of sense for companies like those to go in for buyback and improve shareholder value. And exactly, I think that's what they're doing. So I think that is positive, no doubt, for Bajaj Auto as such. But then, if you're talking of the auto sector overall, I think we have seen an extremely good year in 2023. Even 2022 was quite decent. But then, what's happening now is that there's a decent amount of inventory buildup, which has happened I mean, the dealer level. So I think that's the only sort of a concern which is there as far as the auto space is concerned. So that could be temporary. It could be for a month or two, and possibly that could give someone a buying opportunity in case we see a correction in the auto stocks because of this reason. I don't think Bajaj Auto as such will correct because of the buyback, but if there's a correction in the other stocks, like say for example a Maruti, I think it's a good buying opportunity at lower levels.
Yes, Maruti, just around the 5-digit mark. Ambrish, you've of course put your neck out on Maruti. In terms of other blue chips, we seem to be having a torrid time with public sector, with private sector banks. Look at how ICICI and Axis Bank have corrected. This should ideally not have happened, but be that as it may, भाव भगवान है, जो बाजार देता है वो हमें लेना पड़ता है. But where do you find value in the banking sector at this point of time?
No, I mean, I don't find too much of value at this point of time in the banking space because, see, we first saw a very good rally in the private sector banks when the PSU banks were not going anywhere. And then the private sector banks stopped rallying, and then you had a huge rally in the PSU after a very long time. And they've also been now, I mean, now become expensive. We have seen the NIMs moving up, and I think NIMs have actually peaked out. And going ahead in 2024, we should start seeing the interest rates starting to come down, possibly in the second half, not in the first half, in the second half. And the other issue, what we are seeing is that the liquidity with the banks could be an issue slightly going ahead because, Mr. Uday Kotak also had mentioned this very recently, that more and more people are investing more into the markets than keeping money, I mean, saving with the bank. And I think that could be a sort of an issue going ahead unless, I mean, the regulators take note of this and at least do something to ensure that more liquidity flows into the banks. So looking at all these things, I mean, clearly there is no issue as far as I mean NPAs are concerned. But then again, the RBI governor had spoken about the issue as far as I mean retail lending, which has happened in the last 2 to 2.5 years. I think that is some amount of bother. So if that gets sorted out, then there's not much of an issue as far as the banks are concerned. But I really don't see much of an upside from here because the run-up is more or less done.
Okay, Mr. Baliga, I want to ask you for 2024, which are the top 1 or 2 sectors that you are super bullish on, and if you could also name a few stocks that you are keeping on your radar for this new year.
See, I mean, one sector which I'm quite, you can say, super bullish on is the specialty chemical space, which had done extremely well in 2021. I think it was a discovery of that year because of the China plus one thing playing out. And then because of the issue as far as the raw materials are concerned, there was disruption, and because of which we saw this whole sector underperforming for the next close to 18 months. And it's only in the last 1 or 2 quarters we have seen the margin improvement. And I think this is what will play out for 2024. I think the China plus one theme will actually play out extremely well for this space because most of them have gone through a huge amount of we have world-class plants. I mean, we have, I mean, quite a few leaders in this specialty chemical space. So I think this is one space which I think will play out extremely well in 2024 after this underperformance. And here I would surely look at stocks like Vinati Organics. I would look at Deepak Nitrite, SRF. I think these are a couple of them which I think should do extremely well going ahead.
Okay, Vinati, SRF, and Deepak Fertilizers, you said, right?
Right.
Deepak Nitrite. These are the stocks that you're bullish on. Okay. So this is as far as the mid-cap picks are concerned. Anything from the blue chip space that you believe will be doing well as well? Because, you know, a lot of consensus is building on perhaps as to how 2024 could be a year of the large caps because they have not yet performed. Anything
Right.
from the blue chips that you'd like to point out?
So among the large caps, like I already spoke on auto, I think maybe after a lag of a quarter, you'll again see the auto space doing well. Maybe I would look at buying Maruti at slightly lower levels, Mahindra and
Yeah.
Mahindra, Tata Motors. I mean, Tata Motors, I would surely look at 100, rupee correction from here before I mean, get into that stock. Then IT is the other space I think which should do well. I mean, it's again underperformed for the last 12 to 18 months. I think from April, May onwards, I think we will see the IT space, I mean, starting to do better. So that should be the time to buy into that space. And the third space, which I think should also come back in a big way, is the consumer. Because being an election year, we will see a lot of, cash in the hands of the public, especially bottom of the pyramid. So you will have, decent amount of, a decent amount of spending happening as far as FMCG is concerned, as far as the white goods are concerned. So I think that's one space to be in. And, there I would look at stocks like HUL, which again has been an underperformer, Dabur, Britannia. And as far as the white goods go, I mean, I would look at a stock like Voltas, which has started doing decently well in the past month and a half. I think there is still a decent amount of upside left.
Yes.
Hi, Shailendra ji. This is Priyanka.
Right. Ambareesh, one more point I wanted to discuss with you, and that is on, especially when we talk about the pharma pack that has just started to move. Do you
Right.
see, a structural long-term story building up for this year in the pharma pack, or is this just momentary?
No. I think, I mean, that's one pack I forgot to mention. Pharma is the other one which I've been bullish on even in 2023. And we have seen, most of them, at least decent returns, at least the stocks which we had. For example, Sun Pharma and Lupin, I mean, they've given us close to about 50% return last year. I think that move will continue, and we will see some of the other stocks in the space like Divi's, I think should do well. Dr. Reddy's should do well. So I think pharma as a pack overall, I think one should continue to hold on for the whole of 2024.
Okay, fair enough. Right. Shell? Okay. I think
Yes,
there is
Sakshi.
some.
At the moment, it seems at the moment Nifty is at its day's low, and you have a 144 point cut happening. 312 is already on the board. Therefore, we have about 20. It's 18 minutes left as far as markets are concerned. So again, it's a fairly well managed decline when it comes to the Nifty, and there are some stocks that are doing okay and some stocks that are pretty quiet. But let's look at the structure of stocks that are impacting the index. It's Infosys which is contributing 40 points to this fall. HDFC Bank is contributing 28 points to this fall. Reliance has a 23-point contribution, so does TCS, and Hindalco is of course contributing 8 points to the fall. So the top three index heavyweight stocks, Reliance, HDFC Bank and ICICI, are down anywhere between 1 and 3%, and therefore you have this downtick. Which are the stocks that are in fairly good shape? ITC, days high 477. Remember, on here also we are tracking that 470 call as far as this particular stock is concerned. A fly out trade on Bajaj Auto contributing 10 points. Bharti Airtel, IndusInd Bank and Axis Bank are the ones in the green. A strong 1.8% move coming in on IndusInd Bank. Sakshi.
Absolutely. Ambareesh, I'll also take your view as far as the entire space of, NBFCs is concerned. of course, when we are looking at Bajaj Finance finally starting to move again after a long haul, we are also looking at the smaller ticket item like Manappuram Finance, Muthoot Finance, L&T Finance Holdings, for example, Chola Finance. These are the ones that are showing some kind of a momentum. Are you tracking this actively?
Yeah, in fact, I mean, on the NBFC space, the movement which we see could be temporary because we have seen a correction earlier. And we should remember that the regulator is closely watching this space. And we have seen some diktats in the recent past when they had clamped down on 50,000 and below sort of loans given by most of these NBFCs. I think that would continue even in, like in this new year. Like I said earlier, RBI governor was a bit worried about the sort of loans given to the retail and the evergreening which has been happening for the last couple of years. So I think NBFCs will still see further regulatory action. So it's still time to possibly book out of the NBFCs and stay out for a while.
Right. Okay. Shall I take the next one?
Yes, actually, I think two stocks need mention. One is Sobha Developers. This is
Okay.
a breakout that's happened right in front of us. And not only is Sobha doing phenomenally well, it's 1133 in front of me. Fairly strong momentum coming in. And this is accompanied by a fantastic surge in volume also. What you see in front of you is somewhere like 32 lakh shares. This is the highest since at least 9th of November, and obviously we have about 15 minutes more to go, but a very strong breakout. Since when have we seen stocks in 4 digits posting gains like 12%, 13%? The volume is worth about 351 crores. This needs to be watched, and this is against the background of what Soni, who was with us earlier, mentioned Godrej Properties, 2051 here. This is also looking good, accompanied by a fairly decent chunk of volume, 5,74,000 shares as of now. IndusInd Bank, I'd like to mark 1600 on this one, and this, I think, Sakshi, should be a multi-year high. Let me just check this one. Okay, this is the highest since 2020 of January. So a 4-year high on IndusInd Bank, and things are looking better and better. What else is moving? I would imagine Nestle. Okay, but this is on the downside. Let's avoid that one. What else is moving strongly? Sakshi, what's on your radar?
I wanted to take, Ambareesh's view on delivery. This is one stock that he has been bullish on. It started to show some momentum in the new age tech stocks. I've often heard you speak when the, momentum was not so sharp, but you were picking constantly betting big on delivery. Tell me, it's like at 396 right now. What's the viewpoint here?
I'm still bullish on this stock, and it just started moving again. I mean, we had seen a correction in between, and now it's again bounced back. I still have that target of 550 and 620 because clearly it's the largest and fastest growing express logistics player in India. And I mean, if you look at the market share, they have about 25% in the overall e-commerce express parcel market. And that's growing quite fast. I mean, that's growing at about 30% plus. So I think looking at the gross margins, which they're talking of about 35% and profitability by FY25 or latest by FY26, I mean, if that happens, you'll see delivery as a multi-bagger. But before that, I mean, my target of 550 should be achieved.
Okay, so that's as far as delivery from the new age tech stocks is concerned at 396, currently up 2% higher in trade as well. Let's look at some of the other spaces that are showing some kind of a momentum. In the PSU banking space, Ambareesh, do you have any particular top picks? Would you go with the leader of the pack, SBI, or would you have some other lower ticket, lower rung public sector banks that you would be bullish on?
No, like I said, I mean, in the banks, I'll not really go out right now and start buying because we have seen extremely good move in most of them, especially the PSU banks lately. So at these levels, I'll possibly hold on to the portfolio which I have, but I'll not really buy fresh.
Okay, Fair enough. So that's as far as the viewpoint on this banking space is concerned. Let's look at some of the stocks. I will mark out a few prices right now. Bajaj Auto, which we have mentioned, it's now seen some profits book from the higher levels. It was trading at 7,033 odd levels. It's right now at 6,970, still up 5% higher. Adani Enterprises 2.5% up in trade. IndusInd Bank 1.5% higher. ITC 1.5% up. Cipla is moving up by 1.4%. Adani Ports also moving up by almost 1.5% in trade. Broader markets, of course, apart from the Adani Group stocks, which we've been constantly watching out for through the trading session, so I will not mark them. But Ircon International, as marked by Shell, it's now up by 7.4%, 187 currently. Alok Industries, second day in a row after the RIL's picking up of stake via preferential shares, 7% higher even today. Biocon is up in trade. Bandhan Bank, Avanti Feeds, HLE, Glasscoat. These are the other movers as far as these names are concerned in the broader markets as well. Shell, what else are you watching out for?
Yes, Sakshi, let's look at stocks within the Nifty that are outperforming despite the index falling about 154 points so far. Okay, this is 1299, 1.4% higher. And we have then Bharti Airtel 1.3% higher, 1035. BPCL is back on track. Actually, it's the Petroleum Ministry that came out with a clarification saying that there are no price cuts in the offing as far as diesel and petrol are concerned. They'd like all AMCs to continue making this profit because there have been instances where OMCs have actually borne the brunt of subsidizing pump prices for keeping inflation below. So therefore BPCL and HPCL have done fantastically well. What else is moving? Sun Pharma. Now I'll mark stocks which have hit record highs within the Nifty. This makes imminent sense to keep track of because this is where momentum is despite Nifty correcting. Okay, all-time highs. It's Cipla, it's Sun Pharma, and these are two news-led counters. Adani Ports 1092. In fact, the intraday high was much higher, as also Bajaj Auto. And surprise, I think there is some error. I'd rather not mention this on air. Volume buzzers. Okay. Adani Ports and Adani Enterprises roughly 7 and 8 times respectively. Bajaj Auto 3x volume on this particular counter. It hit a record high. Nothing much to report on here. NSE 500, I'd like to mark some decent all-time highs. Okay, Ircon 186.75. We've discussed this with Soni. We have Prestige Real Estate. Remember, Sobha is at a record high. Rival, Bangalore-based rival, Prestige is 3% higher, 1235. A very well-known pharma company, FDC, huge breakout here, 3% higher on very, very heavy volumes, 411 fresh high. Sham Metallics we've discussed. Hindustan Aeronautics 2868, 3% higher. Sakshi marked Indian Hotels at the beginning of the show, 450. Thermax, Trent, Suven Pharma, Glaxo, Exide Industries. So this is, the broad list of where money is moving in despite the cut that we've seen on major indexes like the Nifty and the Mac Nifty. Sakshi, 7 minutes left. What are you watching?
All right, Ambareesh is still with us. Ambareesh, just one last word on the railway pack I'd like you to tell us. This has been a really buzzing space, and today, of course, we are seeing Railtel, Ircon, RVNL all buzzing in space. Of course, a lot of order flows have come in over the past few months and weeks as well. How would you look at this space and your top bet from this space for a long term?
Again, I mean, like I was bullish on the railway space for quite a while. I mean, this was about a year and a half back. I think, IRFC I've been suggesting since about 1920 levels right up to 2530 levels. And again, I mean, I never really expected it to go beyond 50. And we are already seeing it above 100. And most of the railway stocks have actually become multi-baggers. Some of them 2, 3 baggers, some of them I think close to about 7, 8 baggers. I think at these levels, they are, I think, more than fully priced, overpriced. And as far as the infra companies are concerned in the railway pack, I think the order flows have been extremely good because of which we have seen this run up. But again, the question comes up as far as these stocks are concerned, as well as the defense stocks, where we have seen extremely good order flows. I mean, will the execution happen in the same manner as the order flows have happened? Because I don't think too many people are asking that question because the sort of order flows, I mean, are multiple times what they are used to in the past. So I think execution could be a question mark going ahead, and that could be a red flag. So my suggestion would be take at least half the profits out. If you have been, I mean, if you're not sold till now, take at least half the profits out because when the downturn happens, it can be quite sharp and deep.
Okay, fair enough. Well, on that note, Ambareesh, thank you so much for being with us on this special edition and sharing all your views in various market sectors and stocks that you've shared with us. Happy New Year once again from the entire team of Business Today Television. Let's get back to the markets. The Nifty is still slipping away. If you see, it's now at the lowest point of the day, 0.7% down, 145 points lower in trade, 21,520 can be seen. And what's causing this fall? As far as the Nifty index is concerned, you will see heavyweight counters from IT, Infosys, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, TCS, LTI Mindtree dragging. You will also see some metal pack names. There are seen some, losing of their sheen currently. JSW Steel, Hindalco, Tata Steel, that's down in trade. Even, some of the other stocks from the entire cement pack. Grasim is down. HDFC Bank is down from the banking space. So that's the one that's not participating. Reliance Industries down by 1.2%, 2579 currently. Maruti is down 1074 currently. So heavyweight counters really not participating. It's the Adani Group stocks, Bajaj Auto, Cipla, ITC that are still holding the fort for the Nifty right now. Shell?
Yes, Sakshi. We'll also pay attention to the Bank Nifty. It's flat. Remember, today was the weekly expiry for this particular index. In fact, it's come up with an impressive performance, Sakshi. The day's low was 47,500, which held fairly strongly. And just let me see if something was mentioned in our morning commentary. No, 47,500 wasn't mentioned. Okay, and it's almost closing in the green, which is to my mind a good sign. This one was in real pain over the last 2 or 3 trading sessions, but so far so good. And let's look at the contribution as far as Bank Nifty is concerned. We haven't been paying much attention to it, and it's sort of trying desperately to attach our attention. What is looking good? Axis Bank is looking good. IndusInd Bank is looking good. In terms of the broader themes that are working in the PSU space for in the PSU space for banks, it's Canara Bank 3.6% higher, 463. In fact, it's a nice green uptick for tomorrow. We should be looking at Canara Bank for tomorrow. This is a short covering that's happening with a substantial rise in price. So this is good. And the disappointing one has been, HDFC Bank, but that's fine, no issues. So this is how Bank Nifty's expiry has shaped up, and it heralds good tidings for tomorrow as well as next week, Sakshi. What else are you watching? Okay, Hindustan Aeronautics is up 2.7% in FNO, and this is accompanied by a sharp rise in open interest, 6.6% higher. This is something that we look for tomorrow. We have Crompton Greaves 2.5% higher, Sakshi, 320, and a 16% surge in open interest. This is also a fairly good move that is coming. Biocon 6.7% high, you've touched upon it, 3.1% rise in open interest. So these are the outperformers that I see as far as the FNO space is concerned. Sakshi, a minute to go, and 21,523 for you on the Nifty.
Absolutely, Shell. Of course, we are looking at below the surface, and there is enough to look forward to when it comes to the markets. But definitely on the index level, it is consolidation at large, and the markets are trying to find out some lower support at this level as well. In the broader markets, I can see Borosil Renewables tick higher now, 8.9% up. It's one of the top movers of the Nifty 500 stocks, apart from the Adani Group stocks. You also have stocks like Avanti Feeds, JB Chemicals and Pharma, eClerx Services, Engineers India, FDC, as some of the stocks that are moving up in trade. Concord Biotech, these are the other stocks that are moving higher. Market shutting shop, it's 3:30 p.m. 21,526 currently on the Nifty for you, ladies and gentlemen. When we talk about the Nifty Bank, that's shutting shop absolutely flat with a negative bias, 47747 as the level at which it is shutting shop at. Sectorally speaking, the Nifty Bank down in red, autos down in red, financial services, Sensex, metals and IT. These are the sectors that are down, but a lot of sectors have seen recovery from the lower levels as well. PSU banks, the top moving index, 1.3% higher. Realty follows, 1% up in trade. Healthcare, 0.6% up in trade. Oil and gas, 0.5% higher. Consumer durables, almost 0.4%. Mid caps and the private banking space that's recovered from the day's low. FMCG and the small cap 100 stocks, they're all up into the green as well. So that's as far as the market wrap up is concerned. Now, Shell, very, very interestingly, apart from of course, the stock market prices that we have marked out for all our viewers, Mark Mobius, the investment guru and founder of Mobius Capital Markets, he in fact traveled India, visited 9 cities, and he's saying that he's fascinated by the growth potential that India has as well. So he's actually talked about how, given his optimism for India's future, he's often asked about the right time to invest in this market, and how currently it's being labeled as an overvalued market by some of the analysts. In his view, he said that the traditional stock valuation metrics like price to earnings ratios often overlook the future growth potential of many Indian companies. Now, while the current PE ratios may seem high, they primarily reflect the past performance and don't fully capture the prospective rapid growth in earnings, potentially making Indian stocks even more attractive in the long term as well. In fact, he's also mentioned how investment timing should focus on solidly growing companies, as there are always opportunities to find firms that excel regardless of markets' overall state. For newcomers to the investing world, particularly those unable to research individual stocks, he has recommended choosing a well-diversified mutual fund managed by experienced and reputable investment professionals, and this approach actually offers a balanced entry point into the Indian market as of now. So that's coming in. You can see some stunning photographs that Mark Mobius has also put out. He's visited 9 cities. He lauded the Vande Bharat Express that took him from Jaipur to Udaipur as well. He saw the Hawa Mahal, he saw the City Palace there, and of course Indian meals is what he celebrated. He took an auto rickshaw ride too. So really going into the heart of India to understand, what Indian market could have as a potential for investment going forward for all our viewers. Shell.
Well, Sakshi, first things first, I've been watching Mr. Mobius since 1992. That makes it the 31st year of my tracking him, and he's exactly like this. In fact, the quiz question is, without looking at Google, if you can guess Mr. Mobius's age, actually Dr. Mobius's age, that will be a fantastic exercise in itself. And I'm going to get this pink suit stitched for myself in the next 1 week or so. So this is what you are going to see me wearing. And lastly, he's been watching Business Today because we've been recommending mutual funds since the last 7 months, remember? We've talked so much about funds, right? And we've made portfolios of funds for people with Feroz Aziz. And like I said, this is the best way forward. And a bit on what Mr. Mobius has done. Since 1992, Franklin India Templeton AMC has been one of the pioneers of creating super long-term wealth for investors as far as the past 3 decades are concerned. Their flexi cap fund is one of the best performing funds in India, and they've made phenomenal money for long-term shareholders. Sakshi, I remember having a conversation with you about 2 months ago about an investment in Franklin India flexi cap. I'm sure you can recall that. But the fact remains that India remains one of the top draws as far as global liquidity flows are concerned. It's an island of safety, and it's a place where aspirational growth is taking place. You have to be participating in this kind of a bull market. It's something that probably happens once in a lifetime of a nation, and that is unfolding in India. It is something to be very proud of, and to be investing in the, if nothing you can do, just buy a simple equity diversified fund, pay a bit of fee to the fund manager. It will be his headache to move in and out of stocks, and you'll have a nice relaxed mind. All you need to do is invest every month, and on each passing year increase your SIP by 10 percentage points. That is all you need to do to sort of enjoy the grace, the eternal beauty of this bull market that's unfolding in front of us. And Sakshi, one thing I'd like to point out, somewhere in early March of 2023, Dr. Mobius actually tweeted that they have not been able to withdraw money from China, which is something of a dampener for long-term equity holders, and he now prefers India over China. Sakshi.
Absolutely. And on that note, we will wrap up this special edition. Thanks a lot, Shail, for being with us. But markets 148 points lower, no problem, 21,517, but lots to celebrate below the surface. And we will continue to talk about those winning stock ideas in tomorrow's trading session. So do join us for the market opening session tomorrow.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
So first of all, I'm always very happy and